Anyway, how's everybody doing today? Oh, that's better. Okay, cool. All right, so in this session, we're going to talk about leveraging React in SharePoint Framework. We're going to switch to the slides. And then we're going to talk about leveraging React in SharePoint Framework solutions. This is everything that you're going to learn in here, for the most part, like 90% of it, is just React. It has nothing to do with the SharePoint Framework, but you're going, because that's one of the nice things about what Microsoft has done, is that you're just going to be able to take a React application and use it in the SharePoint framework. So these skills are transferable to other types of projects as well. The one thing that we don't have to worry about when it comes to the SharePoint framework is loading React and bootstrapping React on the page and getting the JavaScript library on the page. They've done that for us. My name is Andrew Connell. I've been doing SharePoint development for much longer than I would recommend any other human doing it. I've been doing this in September 2003. I was an MVP for the office development, not servers and services. I finally got changed. And then I'm also a member of the PMP core team, which basically means we donate our a lot of our free time to the community to do things to make the SharePoint framework community experience a heck of a lot better. I've got a podcast that I co-host. Some of you got t-shirts before the session started. If you didn't get a t-shirt, I'm sorry. I ran out. We did the best we could. We actually didn't run out yesterday, which was the goal, so you guys got the overruns. Doesn't matter, it's the same ones from yesterday. And I also have a training business as well. So I do a lot of SharePoint framework training and education. If you're interested in that, we can talk about that later. I don't want to dwell on that in the session. Now, this session is going to be interesting because I've done this session a couple times, or I've done this presentation a couple times, and I usually do it in about 75 minutes, 60 to 75 minutes, but we don't have that much time today. We've only got 45 minutes. So what I did, I've noticed a couple other speakers are having trouble getting under that or getting to that 45-minute mark. So I did a hatchet job to my slides, and I've hid just about every single slide. You guys, some of you that were in the room earlier heard this already. I think that learning React is much easier if you see it as the real coding example that we're going to do instead of trying to read it from slides. But at the end of the session, I'm going to show you a link where you can download all the code from the session from two projects that I'm going to have for you to be able to download and use as resources and references that I'm going to go create now. I'm not going to create one of them. We don't have enough time. It's going to be the Fabric React version of the same thing that we're building that I'm going to build in just a minute. But you also have access to all the slides of a bunch of additional information that's going to be in there. I want to just touch on a few of the topics in the slides first before I dive into the demo. So everybody, I'm sorry that you're not going to get a lot of slides this morning or this afternoon. I know you devs, you're probably sad about that, right? Yeah, right, yeah. So I love it. Kill PowerPoint, right? Sweet. First applause. I didn't even get 2 minutes in. That's awesome. All right, so that's the kind of stuff we're going to talk about. Look, my goal for you sitting in this session, let me stop. Let me go back for a second. How many of you have never done anything with React? How many of you have done a little bit of stuff with React, but you would be like, when your boss comes up and says, hey, I need you to build this application as a React app, and you're just going to kind of go like, right? There you go. How many of you are like highly skilled at doing React dev? Right? Okay, you guys that are highly skilled in doing React dev, you are just, the only thing you're going to get out of this session is looking at my gray hair. You're not going to get a whole lot out of this. This is a React primer, like React 101, and using it in the SharePoint framework. I just want to set the stage so that you can leave if you want to go find another session. This is for people who have no experience or very little experience with React, or there's some pieces of it that are a little like mythical. I'm only going to focus on the core concepts that's related to React. My goal is for you to be able to walk out of this room and not feel like React is intimidating and go like, oh my God, that is pretty damn easy, darn easy, right? Because I'm giving you the code, because you're going to get the slides, please just sit back, relax, and try and enjoy the ride. Understand the flow of how we're building the app. Understand the concepts of what's going on here, okay? I've got a different way of presenting things that I may be different than what you've heard about this stuff in the past. To me, React is incredibly simple. I used to be an Angular person. I was really ticked off when Microsoft said we had to go React. It's one of those things. It's kind of like when you're in your 20s, you're mad at your parents all the time, or your teens, you're mad at your parents all the time, and they don't know anything. You get to your 30s, and you're like going, oh, they really did know something. That's kind of me with React, right? Now I look back and go, I really like it. And the reason why I really like it is because it's so darn unopinionated. The reason why Angular doesn't work well inside the SharePoint framework, in my humble opinion, and other web frameworks have a hard time with it, is because they also are very opinionated. Angular is very opinionated on how you structure your project, build your project, deploy it, all that kind of stuff, how the layout of the code and the folders are. React is not like that. Can you think of another web framework that is also very opinionated? Almost. SharePoint Framework, maybe? How does it go in a relationship when you put two very opinionated things together? Yeah, it doesn't go so hot, right? Generally speaking. In my house, it's okay. We've been doing it for 17, 18. I take my ring off and find it. Remember, it's something like that. It's a long time, right? That's going really well. Thankfully, she's not a developer. We would not really get along that well. Because I wouldn't know what I was talking about, apparently. So let's talk about some core concepts with React. Okay, there's a few pieces to this. It's really, really simple. First, a component model. What is that? Think about the web application that you're going to build. It's just a bunch of boxes, a bunch of rectangles, right? Your rectangles go all over the page. You've got rectangles that are, it doesn't really show up that well. Okay, that's fine. Think of the sweet bar across the entire top. That's one big React component. Think about the profile picture in the top right corner. That's another React component. Think about like the little icons to the right or to the left of the profile picture in the top right. Think about those as individual components. Same thing with SharePoint. Same thing with Office 365 and the waffle menu in the top left corner. All of those things would be individual components inside of a bigger containing component. Now, another thing that I like to think of, this is not my term, this is one that I've picked up from some other React developers. Think about React components as two different kinds of components, smart components and dumb components. A dumb component just does exactly what you tell it to do, right? Like me at home. Do exactly what you're supposed to do. Just present this text. Just when a button is clicked, just raise this event. Don't go get data from anywhere. I'm going to give you data. You're just supposed to render out a list. All right? Smart components are things that are going to do something. There's more logic behind those guys. Like, for example, the waffle menu in the top right, that's probably going to be a smart component. It's got to figure out what license you got and what access you have to certain things. Right? Maybe it's got some of the logic built in behind the scenes. Or maybe the search box, which is a component with another component inside of it because it's got a little eyeglass on the side, and then it's got the text next to it. When I start typing stuff in it, it's going to do a quick little check and maybe an autocomplete or an IntelliSense kind of thing. That's a smart component. But the little hourglass thing next to it, that's a dumb component. It doesn't do anything, it just sits there. Think about your components in those two ways. Why? Because it's going to simplify how you build stuff. Otherwise, you're going to build every single component as a smart component, and things are going to get complicated. It helps you with the way you're going to build your application. So when the designer gives you the design of what the app's supposed to look like, or the web part, in our case in SharePoint, you're going to sit there and draw a bunch of rectangles around it, a bunch of divs all over it, essentially. Make sense? Cool. Step one done. What does it look like in code? A React component is just a JavaScript class. We use TypeScript in SharePoint, in the SharePoint framework. You're going to build a class. So this is what it looks like. Very simple class here. I'm exporting a class, basically says public class, named hello world, and it's going to extend something called the React component, right? That takes in two properties in a generic, and it basically says, what does his public signature look like, and what does his internal state signature look like? We'll talk about those in a minute. Every React component has exactly one, or at least one method, and it's a render method. That render method, just like a web part, is going to run when the web part or when the React component needs to be rendered. Okay? He's going to be running, he's supposed to return back what should be rendered out. Now, what does he return? He's going to return this stuff called JSX. In our case, we're in TypeScript, so it's TSX. It stands for JavaScript Extended or TypeScript Extended. And it's basically Facebook being funny and just saying, we're going to mix HTML and XML together without doing all the string concatenation. There's a more technical explanation for it, but that's all you really care about. Okay, be a pragmatic dev. I don't care about what all that other stuff is. So here, I've got a component called hello world. When I add it to a page and it gets rendered, as you can see there at the very bottom of the page, or the very bottom of the slide, it's going to render out another React component called hello Mars inside of a div. Pretty simple. Next concept we got to get with React. How do I get things into it? Let's stop for a second. When you think about a React component, think about it just like HTML. It's like a button. What do HTML components have, or elements have? They have inputs and outputs. The inputs are properties. So if it's a button, you've got a value, or you've got the label, or you've got the type of the button, right? You guys are with me. We at least are at that bar, right? As web devs. Somebody's not going, what's the button? Like, oh. You bit off a lot in this session, buddy. The other thing that you've got is you've got to be able to export something, let them know about something coming out of that button, right? When I click it, how do I do that? There's an on-click event. If it's a drop-down list, I've got properties I can pass into it. I can define those as like sub-things inside of it, like a composite kind of a component where I've got like options inside of it. Or I've got the selected index that's going to be defined, stuff like that. When somebody selects an item, what's it going to do? Selected index. That number is going to change and let my application hook into that event, and then I can detect certain things and do things. But think about something that's also very common between HTML and React. With HTML with a button, is there two-way data binding? No, there's not. What do I mean by that? There's no two-way data binding in the sense of when I pass something into the button, that button can't all of a sudden change what the value of his label is magically and export it back out, and I can bind to the value property, right? You can't do that. Instead, you have to listen for an event and ask it for what, in that event, find out what the result is. That's the same way with React. React does not do two-way data binding. They decided that it was too slow, and they have other ways of rendering things that make it a whole lot better, make it a whole lot faster than using two-way data binding. That's biting off a lot more than we can dive into in this session. I'm happy to explain the concept after the session, but it's something called the virtual DOM. There's a whole diff engine. Just know, like, okay, it's good, it's really fast, happens internals, black box, I don't care. Okay? Now, how do we get properties into our React component? Well, you got to do two things. The first thing you got to end up doing is you have to tell React what the public signature of your component is. And you do that with an interface in TypeScript. So here what you see is the stuff that's been highlighted in orange. At the top there, you see that I've got an interface defined as hello world props. It's got a property of string, of name, which is of type string. Then you see I've defined that the signature of that component in the declaration of the component where I'm saying export class on the far right. The next bit is the properties being passed in, or the render method is going to say that he's going to be passing back a React element back to whatever's consuming this thing, and I can then leverage the properties that are being passed in by looking at this.props, and the value or the type of the props property is an iHelloWorldProps. Make sense? Pretty simple, right? How do we do the data binding of putting the text on there or getting it rendered on the screen? Just do the curly brackets or the mustache brackets and put this.props.name. All right, and then you can see how it's being used down there at the bottom where I say hello world name equals Andrew. Make sense? Sweet, all right, moving on. How do I then tell my component, how does my component tell whoever's consuming it something just happened? How do I do that? The on-click event happens, or the on-selected index changes. The way you're going to do that is with a delegate, right? You .NET devs, you know what the delegate is, right? What that means is you're going to create another kind of a property that his data type is a function. It's a callback. So I'm going to say you can bind to this function, like on-click, and here's what you should, when you create the method handler or the event handler that's going to handle this event, here's the signature of what you can expect to get back. In our case right here, he can expect to get back an email address, right? So up there on the second line, it says export type form submit operation callback. It's a function that's going to return back a single parameter that's of type string. I'm just going to name it email, but it doesn't really matter. And it's going to have no return value to it, right? Not going to send anything back into the component. I'm then going to go through and I'm going to define a new property on my public interface for my component called onSubmit that's of type that delegate, that function. Then I can use it inside of my component. So there, when the button is clicked, I'm going to tie the onClick event to a handler that I've written a little bit farther down called onSubmitForm. And you can see that onSubmitForm is just calling this.props.onSubmit because onSubmit is defined as a real thing up above. You with me? Pretty simple, right? There's one more concept, and that's about it with React, right? The rest of the people want to sell you like a $200 course. Now, I don't have any problem with that, though. But so, last thing is state. So here's a concept that happens with our component, all right? Now, I'm going to do a lot of hand waving and stuff here for this piece. So the component state, what this is, let me step back. If you ever change a property on a component, so if I've got like a web part and that web part changes a public property like name on my component, React is going to see that and it's going to call render again. It's going to trigger it to re-render. You don't have to do that, that just happens, okay? It's one of the triggers. You cannot change the values of those properties inside the component. Name cannot be changed. It's immutable, right? One of the things that you can do inside your component, though, is you can keep your own little data store. We call it the state. And what that data store is that React is going to watch that data store, and if it ever changes, it will also call the render method to cause things to get re-rendered. So what you may want to do is take properties when they're being passed in on the initialization or loading of the component. You set values on the state. It's going to cause the thing to call render. And if anything happens inside your component that you want to change the state again, maybe somebody's typing their name and it's bound to an input field, then you want to, and when they make that change, you're going to change the state, which is going to re-render it, which shows their name typed out a little bit below. Okay? How do you change the state? You call a method called setState. This.setState, and you pass in a brand new state. Not a changed state. You pass in, you don't change the state, you tell it, set the state. The state is an immutable thing. You never change it. You always reset the entire object. Okay, with React. If you try and change the state directly, you're probably going to get an error, but you're also going to see that no re-rendering is going to happen. Now, let me give you a little bit of guidance. This is not from me, this is from Facebook. Let's say the application you see on the right is a very non-sexy version of what I'm going to build in just a minute, right? It's 3 components that are nested, right? So you got a big blue container component. You've got your orange component that's nested a little bit smaller in. That's going to be our component that contains a list. And then the yellow component is going to be the one that renders out a specific item in the list. So we're going to have a big blue component that's going to render out a single orange component that's going to render out 10 of those yellow components inside of it. Right, using the NASA Apollo missions. Shocker, I know. If you know me, then you know it's shocker that I'm using the NASA Apollo program. And it's also an open data set, so you can't get in trouble with copyright or something like that. Now, one of the things is there's a concept of called lifting the state. And what this is that let's say something happens inside of our components. Let's use our example here. We're going to build something that's going to take a list of Apollo missions. We're going to add it to our big blue container component. It's going to render out a list of all these different Apollo missions, and then each one of those Apollo missions is going to show all the details about it, the yellow box, and it's also going to have a button called remove to where I can remove it from the collection, which should re-render the entire list with n-1 items in the collection. But what I want to do, where do I want to store that data? Where's it going to live? Is my data for my entire list going to live at the yellow component? No, because that's just one item. Does it belong at the orange component? It could. But I'm going to put it all the way at the top, at the root. And I'm going to have that be the shared state because everything in my application needs that. But where does the event happen? The event happens down low inside of the Apollo mission, on the remove, where the remove button is. But I don't really want to remove it from the collection down here. I want to remove it up at the top where the state actually exists. So there's a concept of lifting the state all the way up to the top to where I'm bubbling that event all the way up so that when I make that change, it causes the blue component to re-render, which re-renders the orange component, which is bound to all those items in the list, which then each one of those items in the list goes down, bound to the next one. We get 9 yellow components. Conceptually, does that make sense? Okay, now, way off topic. Maybe you get into an application that's really big, and it's not just a linear thing of components, but you've got this tree of a container, a bunch of other pieces inside of it, a big application, and you're like, wait a minute, so down here I've got to bubble this all the way up and it's going to re-render the whole thing? That doesn't sound really smart. And you're right, it's not. So what would you do? There's this thing in React, or not in React, but there's a separate thing called Redux. You might have heard React and Redux together. What Redux is, it basically says, let's take the state out of this application, put it over here, and these things can attach to specific pieces. And you're like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, we're not doing that today. That's way too much, right? Now, transitioning, that's all React stuff, nothing to do with SharePoint. But let's talk a little bit about SharePoint here. Microsoft supports using React inside of SharePoint. Depends on the version of SharePoint that you're on, which version you're going to get. SharePoint Online, SharePoint 2019, SharePoint 2016. Now, I'm going to give you my opinion, which some people say, well, that's not really totally true. And I say, well, I don't really care because I have the microphone. So here's what I would say. Don't use a different version of React than what comes with the SharePoint framework when you create the project. In other words, I'm on SharePoint 2016. I don't want to use this old version of React that's 3 years old. I'm like, sorry, you're going to have to upgrade SharePoint. I wouldn't try and do another one. Why? Because generally speaking, 2 versions of React on the page, it might work, it might not work. Your mileage may vary, right? It should work, but I'm not going to try and do that. I'm not going to go assume that that's going to be something that's going to work, because who knows if somebody else builds something, goes on the same page, and there's something conflicting. It's probably not going to be good. Same problem that jQuery has, all the other JavaScript libraries, okay? So I wouldn't do that. Stick with the version that you're currently on. There's a slide inside, the hidden slides in the slide deck that does tell you what versions are supported where, including the version of Fabric React as well, and the Office UI Fabric if you're interested in seeing that stuff. But we're not going to dive into it. Now, let me give you 2 bits of guidance here. These are my opinions. This is not how you should do it, but you really should. Use SharePoint use a SharePoint artifact as the loader for your React components. What do I mean by that? When I build SharePoint Framework components now, I do as little SharePoint work as I possibly can. I do as little work as I possibly can. My ultimate goal is to strive to be able to take that React application out of whatever it's in, drop it into a normal web page, and run it somewhere else. That is my ultimate goal. And you'd be like, well, what about my data inside of a SharePoint list? Or what about this? Like, okay, yeah, you have data coming from somewhere that's different, right? I still would try and do the exact same thing. But where the data comes from, still, the React component should be getting that data from SharePoint, not inside the React component. The SharePoint web part should be getting the data. The SharePoint component, whatever it is, an extension, an app customizer extension, a field customizer extension, a command set, a web part, or whatever new widget that they're going to give us tomorrow, that thing should be used as just the marshaller between the React app and SharePoint. You're going to get a public property from SharePoint, go get the public property, maybe expose it on the property pane, hand it down to the React app, let him do the work. He's going to make changes to it, you need to save it, he bubbles it back up to the web part goes through and saves it to the public property on the web part. Why? If you ever try and do unit testing or automated testing with your web parts, or extensions or whatever, your life will be infinitely easier if you don't try and test the SharePoint stuff to it. Don't try and test anything SharePoint. Focus on the system under test. Focus on what you wrote. If your test all of a sudden fails because something in the SharePoint framework, guess how much influence you can have on fixing that problem? No. I'm not going to put my test in there because I'm not going to try and focus on that. Yes, you could go all the way and say, I'm going to put tests in there to make sure that something doesn't break from Microsoft so I can be the first one to create an issue in the issue list that then I'm going to go through and triage. That's fine. You can do that. But focus on what you need to do to get your job done. Okay? That's my take on it. The other thing, too, I would always create a core top-level container for your React component. You're going to see the one that we're going to create. I'm going to take what they give us, and I'm going to turn that into my container. That should be the thing that I should be able to go pop it up, drop it over in a web page, and it should just work. Make sense? Just my take. That's how I would do stuff. I'd recommend you do that. Then there's some stuff about Office UI Fabric. There's some reusable controls that you can use to make your application a little bit easier and nicer. I don't have a whole lot of time to go into that today. If I do at the end, I'll come back to this. But I would rather focus on the demo instead. So you can do Office UI Fabric, and then because people are taking slides, there's also an awesome library from PNP that's reusable controls that are more smart controls that know how to get data from a list and stuff using the Graph API and REST API, SharePoint REST API that you don't have to worry about. Those are cool things. Definitely go take a look at them. Those are thumbs up, but I'd rather do a demo. Cool? Okay, all right, now we gotta dive into this. So I'm gonna get through as much of this as I can in 45 minutes, but when I get towards the very end, I'm gonna jump over and do a Julia Childs and say, look, turkey's done, let's look at the solution. All right, so let's start first with a project. I'm gonna come over here and create a brand new project. So I'm gonna say yo@Microsoft/SharePoint install. All right, can you guys read that okay? That looks a little small, doesn't it? It was a lot bigger in my room. Usually that's a good enough size. So I want to go to text, 18, let's do 22. There, can you read that? Thank you. All right, so we're going to do that. What do you want to name it? And this is the part where you do every SharePoint developer is. You just go, yep. It's a hello world web part because legally we have to do that for the first web part. And then over there, React done. Now, let's take a look at what this is. And let's look at what's interesting about this. about React. So over here in my package.json file, I've got React already being added as a reference to my project. I'm also getting type declarations from my, where are they? Right below it. Type declarations to make it easier for me to work with React inside of a TypeScript environment, because React is a JavaScript environment, although it sounds like they're going to rewrite the whole thing in TypeScript soon. Now you look at this and you're going, well, hey, don't I need to make sure that React doesn't get included in my bundle? No, you don't have to worry about that. And you're like, well, wait a minute, how am I getting away with that? Because in the config.json, I don't see anything listed in the externals that says, hey, don't suck this into my project. This is something that the SharePoint Framework does automatically for you. You don't have to worry about that stuff getting sucked into your project. So what else does it give us? It gives us a basic web part over here. So there's my web part, or here's the basic core SharePoint Framework web part that I'm getting. Inside of this, what you'll see is I've got my declaration for my web part. There's my hello world web part. There's his public properties that are being passed in. You can see I have a description property that is my public signature of my web part. And then here in the slides, you saw me add like hello world and hello Mars and stuff with the elements. The other way to do that, like the non-declarative way to do it more of an API, is to do it with the code that you see there. You probably can't see that because that is also an 18-point font, so this is going to go up as well, to that, to that, to that. Where'd my code go? There, is that better? You guys good in the back? Yeah, good in the back? Cool, all right. I did that once, and a guy in the back like was going, yep, I'm good, and he held up a beer, and I'm like, oh, man, well, you can't do that now. I mean, you can if you share, but you can't do that. All right, so there in the render method, notice in the render method on line 21 through 26, what that's doing there is it's creating the element, my React component we're going to look at in a second, and it's going to, it's loading the component, which is a hello world component, and then it's setting its public properties by passing in that object of just having a single property here of a description, and then he calls React DOM.render, render this element, this React component, into this DOM element, the div on the page that was carved out for the web part. Right? That's simple, right? That's pretty simple. In my React stuff that I do with SharePoint Framework, that's about all I do in the web part. That's about it, if I can, unless there's public properties I need to have on there. Somebody's opening up a beer. You can't do that in front of everybody else. There. Here is our React component right here, okay? They're trying to be sneaky, too. So here, in this one, this is the actual React component. This is the base one that we get. Now this guy, a couple things to take notice of on this that are a little bit different. Notice that I'm pulling in my properties for my React component. This is the public signature of my React component, this hello world props. This is the thing that's going to define that there is a description property, a public property on this, this component. The other thing to take notice of that's a little weird is on lines 9 through 17. See where it says class name? Yeah, we can't use the word class for a CSS class because class is a real thing inside of JavaScript, inside of TypeScript. So they had to call it class name, and React goes, yeah, my bad. Tell you what we'll do. We'll just go through and I'll make it class when we render this out. So you have to remember to use class name, okay? The other thing that's kind of interesting about this too is you see that I'm mixing and matching HTML and these other declarative things here by going through and doing the data binding. So I'm binding in these different properties. And then the public signature of this guy just looks like this. That's a basic React web part. But that's not what we want to do. We want to do something fun. So let's come over here and let's open up another project. Demo 1. Okay. So let's open up a project here and let's see how much of this stuff that we can get through in the next 10, 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do over here, what I've done to my project, let me show you what I've done that's a little bit different for my project now, is I've come over here and I've added in a model, which is just an interface for what a NASA Apollo mission looks like. It's got an ID, it's got a name, a launch date, an end date. These question marks mean that they're optional parameters. And then I've also got services that are defined here. So this is a mission service. I've got a poor man's database, just a big JSON array that I've got listed here of a bunch of NASA Apollo missions. Some of them have launch dates, some of them have end dates. Yep, not really sexy there. Come down here, I've got two methods. Get a single mission and get all the missions on line 438 and get a single mission on line 450. So now, let's see what we can do with this. Oh, and the other stuff that I did too is it's a React web part, so there's your React-y stuff there, and there's some more React-y stuff over here as well. Okay, so now what do we want to do? So what I've done, if I look at my web part here, he's very simple. There's my React viewer web part, Here's a description being passed in. I'm not even going to really use that. But there's the component itself. And over here, and if I look at the component, so you can see here where there's the web part itself, there's the components. Here's my component right here. This guy is what is the React component, and here it is rendered out. So that now when I come over here and look at this, cd, it's in repos, pres, it's u, gulp serve. Come on, you're not under 45-minute pressure. I am. Go. There we go. Close those guys. We wait. Come on, no whammies. Ta-da, web part, ta-da. There we go. We have one Apollo mission that's going to be listed here. So what I want to do is I want to get a lot more of these guys on here. So what are we going to do? So first trick I'm going to do, remember I told you that one of the things that I like to do is I like to refactor this stuff out to have a container component for all my stuff. So the first step I want to do is I want to get an Apollo mission component so that, thinking back to the slides, I've got a blue box and a yellow box. All right? So what am I going to do? So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to create a new folder with this guy's name like this. I'm going to grab all these guys and shove him in. Now, why am I going to do that? What that's going to do is it's going to make me, I'm going to have a lot of components here. I'm going to have 3 components. I don't want all that stuff in the components folder because not every file in there is really a component. It's a CSS file, it's a this, it's a that, or a SAS file. So what I'm going to do is I want to make it easier to work with this app. So first step, I've gone through and I've pulled this into its own folder. I'm going to get rid of this default name right here because that just means that it's like you can import this thing in without it having a name, and this is what you're going to get. I like to name all my stuff. I'm also going to create a thing called a barrel. So if you go in here and create a file here called index.ts, I'm going to say export everything from the file Apollo Viewer React, and he's also got a Apollo Viewer React properties. So I'm going to export both of those guys. Now, why am I going to do that? Just stay with me. So now you see what I've got here. Now look a little bit more clean, right? A little bit more organized here. It's the OCD developer kicking in right now. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add in another one of those barrels, index.ts. You're still wondering, like, why are we doing this? I'll get to it. From, and then I say export everything from that guy. Cool. Now, let's make sure our web part still works. Come over here and let's change stuff up a bit. Now, how do you like looking at references like this, these big, long imports? Me, no likey. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say import, and let's think where we are for a second here, okay? I'm right here, so I got to go, is he parallel? Yep, he's parallel. I'm going to go into /components, /Apollo Viewer React, that I need this thing down here. So check this out. I'm going to go import from components, but I could go like this and like that, but I could just say stop right here, because everything on the end of that, it assumes /index.ts or index.js is going to be there. So that now I can just say, let's pull in those 2 things we just refactored out. Me think that much cleaner than this. Get rid of that, save our changes, come back over here, do a gulp serve, hopefully no whammies. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. We have no whammies so far, and oh, yellow, that was a lot of whammies. What did I do? Apollo Viewer React not found in /components. So let's just stop for a second. Let's do a gulp clean. Let's think about this for a second. So you are up into components. Components, you're right here. Apollo Viewer React. You're going to be Apollo Viewer React, component there. You're a public class. Worked just fine when I did it in my hotel room this morning. Let's try it one more time. After you clean things up, run it again. And there, better error. What does it say? Oh, I can't find the SAS. Wait, where does it say? Can't find the SAS file. That's right, because where is it? You are in a different spot now. You are not in, no, you're in the same folder. Where did it say that? Where did it say that? It said that in our TSX. Wait, no, come back. Error, cannot find that module. What do you mean you can't find that module? It's right, it's in the same folder. Is it fixed? So that's what I meant to have happen. So I'm glad that you guys could see that. Sometimes things just fix themselves. That's called good debugging, good React debugging. Ta-da. Now, next up. Next thing, what are you laughing at? Here we go. Next thing. Let's go through and do a little bit of refactoring here. Now, this is the part where I'm going to have to do a little bit of a Julia Childs. So what I want to do is I want to get this entire Apollo mission that you see here. Let's put them in a separate component. So I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to create a new folder here called Apollo mission. And because we are a little short on time, we are going to cheat, and we are going to find, if you look on your laptop and you go to the folder repos, then you too will have a folder here that's got 3 files, and all you have to do is grab those 3 files and then copy them into this folder right here, and ta-da, it'll work. Trust me, the 3 files that are on your machine. So now, all I just did there is I just took out that component. I just moved everything over. Instead of typing all that stuff in and copying and pasting, I just took that big div and I just moved it over into a separate file, a new React component. So up here, nothing special. Importing React styles, an interface, and then also having I'm declaring a new React component, right? You just saw that a minute ago, so no big deal, right? Okay. Next thing that we need for this, so he's also exporting all of his stuff, so we need to go back to our container, right, this guy, and do the exact same thing. We need to export our mission right there. And now how do we use the mission? Well, if we go back over here into our React component, let's get rid of this big div. Nope, not that one. That's the wrong one. We want to save that div. That's a good div. We want to go into the container that was created by SharePoint Framework's Yeoman generator. And I want to get rid of all of this right here. And instead, I'm going to want to import. Let's see, we want to import. Where are we? We are in our, let's see, we're inside of the container. So we got to go back up to the components. So ... And then now that we're in there, we should be able to get everything we want inside of it, which we can. So then we just say Apollo mission, and then I grab my mission, come down here and say Apollo mission, ta-da. Everything works. Are we good? This is the interactive part. Are we good? Yes. Yay, there we go. It's not paired programming. It's not paired programming, it's 300 and something programming. All right, ta-da, run, and does it work? Yay! Well, it flickered on us. Sometimes that happens to you. Ta-da, that's not my fault, that's SharePoint. Always blame stuff on SharePoint, not on React, they're good. Like, all right, there we go, so cool, we're in good shape with this, right? Now, what I would like to do is, how do I make this dynamic? How do I make this whole thing dynamic? Well, that's not gonna be all that hard, because all I have to do to make this dynamic, to get it as a public property going in, is I'm gonna come over here to my Apollo, the interface that I have for my Apollo mission right here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a new mission like this and go mission. Nope, not that. Autocomplete was auto-fail. And say, I need to now declare this interface. Import, and where is it? From, I think he's in, let's see, we got to go, where are we? We are inside that. We're in the mission. We need to go up to the components, up to the web part container, out of the web parts. Keep going. There we go. We're in the models. That's where I wanted to go. And that's where our iMission interface is. Okay, there's a way that you can get around this too, this cool trick. It's a Webpack kind of trick, but where you don't have to keep typing these dots all over the place. You can like define it once for your project, and it's like /models, and it goes, oh, I know where that is, and it replaces that for you. You're like, whoa, it works. All right, so you got missions right here. We're in the interface, the missions, oh, now we're getting this error. Now this one, this will drive you up the wall when you first start getting to this. That red error you see down there, you're squinting, like, what the hell does it say? What's going on there is it says there's an error in this type is not assignable to intrinsic attributes and intrinsic class mission and read only, and you're like, what? It doesn't say what the problem is. What it's translating and telling you is it says, hey, you told me that this interface has or this component has a public property called mission, and you aren't defining a public property on that guy, so it's breaking. If you told me that it was optional and I didn't need it like that, then the red whammies keep going all the way up and they don't come back down on the bottom. But if you want it to be required like that, then what you have to do is come over here and get a mission like that, and then add it in over here to say like the mission equals this mission, And notice here, we're on Apollo 6. Save our changes. Go, go, go. Go fast. No, what'd you do? Can't find name mission. Where? On the React thing. Oh, because of that? It's easy. Just uncomment code and it just works. Just like your machine. It's awesome. Come back over here and we see, come on. Hello. Oh, nope, it's not working. We're still Apollo 4. Why are we still Apollo 4? Anybody know? Come on, I've only got 5 minutes. Anybody know? No, I didn't do anything with it. Look, see? Come over here. Mission. It's Apollo 4 because it's supposed to be Apollo 4. I really want to come over here and say this.props. Name. Oh, no, mission. Yeah, mission dot name. I don't know what that TD. Oh, that's because I don't have that. There, ta-da. Come back and ding. Sweet. Now it's dynamic. So now we're getting properties. Oh, no, see, that was really easy, okay? So that was like, that was easy to, what does it take to get a beer? No, I'm just kidding. Now, in the interest of time, let me kill this project off, and let's imagine, right, that I've done this again, and I've extrapolated it a second time. So in my second demo that I have, or the second stage of my demo, if I keep going up, I have done this. I've done this again, and we now have, and now you're starting to see why I like to put these things in separate folders, is because I now have 3 components inside of my components folder. I've got a mission list, and my container, which is a just viewer React. And if you look at this Apollo viewer React, what this guy is doing here is this guy has a state that's been defined. That's his own interface. That is a collection of missions, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm coming down here when the component loads, not in the constructor, but when the component loads, this is like the on init method. It's called component did mount. Mounting is what React uses as a term for loading the component. I'm going to call set state and pass in an object that has a property called missions, and I'm going to get all the missions from my service and shove them in. So now I got a collection of missions in the state. And then I had created a new component called Apollo mission list and gave it the collection of all of those missions in the state. So that now, whenever I change the state, it's going to call render, which is going to re-render out the whole tree again with new missions. Make sense? This is the interactive part. Make sense? Yes? Okay, good. Now, mission list, what does he do? He's got a collection of missions. He's simply going to use the map function, and for each mission, write out an Apollo mission like that, just like what we saw a second ago. Right? Not too hard. Still with me, right? All right, we're going to go one more step further. The last thing we want to do is we want to be able to see how to raise events. So imagine, let's go up to CSWP U, gulp serve. Let me show it to you working, and then I'll have to show you the code. Come on, come on. Come on, come on. You go like this, it goes faster. You got to do that the other way if you're down in Australia. Go like that. There we go. There's my Apollo missions, and I want to remove a mission. Remove it, remove it, remove it, remove it. How is that happening? Down at the Apollo mission, we're clicking a button. He's going to lift the state to tell the parent list, who's going to then tell the container. The container is then going to run a method to delete an item on the collection of missions, reset the state, which is going to re-render the container, which re-renders the list with n-1 missions, which will then add n number of 1 Apollo missions on it. Make sense? How does that flow work? That's all I'm going to have time to show you. That works like this. So let's start from the bottom. Inside, here is my new type that I've created, my callback. So my callback is simply going to say, is called a mission operation callback, and I'm passing back a mission. In the interface for my mission component, the lowest level one, the yellow box, does that help? Just saying yellow box, orange box, blue box, remember that? Right? So the yellow box in the middle, the yellow box now has a new event called onRemoveMission that's of this type. So what do I do with that? When someone clicks the button, the remove button, on click, it's going to call that function right there. And that function right here is saying, having an event passed in I'm going to say prevent default, which basically says don't do what you normally do when you click a button or go to a link, which is to go navigate to a link. So prevent default, what you normally do, and then I'm going to call the public property on my mission component. That's this function. I'm passing the mission into it. What does that do? Well, the consumer of that, which is the list, he bound that function to something else. He's got his own mission because remember, he's chaining things up. So ultimately, that got up to the top, right here on delete missions. Now we're in the orange box. The orange box had a delete coming from up inside. We're still passing the mission all the way up. And then it got to the very top. Got to the very top. He's going to say, OK, I'm going to remove the mission. And right here, remove the mission. I'm passing a mission object all the way up. Which one are you going to remove? I'm going to take all the missions. I'm going to filter out the one that we want to remove. I'm left with a new collection. I set the state. Everything re-renders. Ta-da. Pretty, not too hard, right? I know I went through that last part a little quick because it's kind of tight on time. But conceptually, do you understand that? Right? Those are the two biggest pieces to this. The public properties going in, the events coming out. All right? There's another project inside of here. I'm out of time, unfortunately. But there's another project inside of that I give you as well. I give you the final, the project I just went through is the one that is one of the ones I give you, not the demo ones that I was using throughout, but that's what we were building. And then I give you another project that uses Fabric React that adds 3 controls: a list, a toggle, and a something else. Don't know what that is. Oh, a tag picker where I can start doing IntelliSense. Like I can type in AS-2, and it says here's all the missions that match that. And it allows you to toggle between all missions or just the filtered missions. Shows you how to do some of that kind of stuff using Fabric React to do some cool stuff. If you want the code for that stuff, I have tried to upload it to the conference site, and it keeps failing on the upload for me. So you go to that link at the top there and plug in your email address. If it doesn't work, then don't use Internet Explorer. Go back and use a real browser. Internet Explorer keeps failing on it. That's not my problem. That's your problem if you're using Internet Explorer. Or just text that code there that you see, the msignite19-brk, to that number, and it'll do a little auto thing that asks you for the email address, and it'll email you a link with the code and the slides, including the slides that I hid. If the conference, I'll continue to try and get the code uploaded for the site, and you'll still be able to get access to the slides once they distribute them the way they're distributing them. Cool? OK. I ran out of time. I got a minute or two over. I think the next session starts, what, in 30 minutes? Yeah. So I guess I've got like a couple minutes for questions really quick. But if the next presenter's here and wants to start getting set up, please come on up and start doing that. Otherwise, happy to do a few questions, or at the very end, if we get cut short on time, and just stand outside and answer questions. Thank you very much for coming to the session.